Okay, hi guys. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is that we're going to be painting the buildings that we did. So I have the watercolor set, right? And I have some water, a paintbrush, and more importantly, I have my drawing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to obviously pour some water. I hope you have watercolors. If you do not have watercolors, you could definitely use color pencils, but it's kind of nice to work with watercolors just to kind of get a change of pace of what we normally do. So today with the rest of the fourth graders, the plan is to definitely watercolor paint. So everybody should be prepared. Now, some of the basic rules are that if you're going to be painting, you need to obviously have some water, right? And every time you're going to switch to a new color, you need to wash and dip your paintbrush. The other thing is that you don't want to put too much water because then the color gets watered down and it's not as intense. Number three, the other thing is if you want to make a color, you see this little plastic part on the side, go ahead and use that. So for example, I'm going to just go ahead and get started. If I wanted to create sort of a turquoise green, what I would do is I would get some of the white paint and I would dip and I would put it to the other side. You're not really fully seeing it, but it's there. And then I would like to create sort of that green. So I wash my paintbrush before I go ahead and put that green. Whoops, I mixed it. I wasn't supposed to. And then I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of that blue. Again, mixing it on the side, and then go ahead and get some more of the white. And so now I have a really cool turquoise color. So the key is that if you are going to be mixing and creating colors, what you want to do is you want to do it on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So as I mentioned before, the way you're drawing the buildings, right, is that you're doing it landscape. You're doing it horizontal because we don't want to have the building so high up that we won't be able to kind of have that beautiful skyline, because we do want to definitely do stars. I'm going to go ahead and get started with my mosque. I hope you guys can see it. So I'm going to paint the windows turquoise just because I think that would look really pretty. So every window I'm doing turquoise. If you wanted to do different colors as far as the apartments are concerned, you could do that. Generally, it's kind of nice. Now, the other thing is that when you are going to be watercolor painting, you are holding the paintbrush like you would a color pencil, a pen, and you're kind of light. So I'm going to go to the side just so you can see. If you were to press hard like this, you're not going to be able to control the paintbrush. And this one's kind of sturdy, but for the most part, you're going to find that the paintbrush is going to get all out of sorts, and then it's going to be uneven. And you want to be able to stay within your lines, right? The idea is to paint softly, not pressing too hard. And the idea is also to be able to stay within the confined area. So that's particularly true when you have things like, let's say, for instance, you are doing a small thing, such as this star. You want to stay inside the star, so you don't put too much water because it'll seep out to the side. I don't know if you can go ahead and see that. You don't want to put too much water, but you also want to go very lightly, and that way you're staying inside. So if you take a closer look at this, despite this being pretty small, you can kind of stay inside. So that's really important. I want to go ahead and think of other colors that I might want to do. You can be creative. So I'm going to go with a pink, just because I think pink is pretty. And maybe what I'll do is I will, remember how we said how Moroccan doors are so particularly beautiful because they can also have flowers, designs. There's a lot of painting that's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the flowers. Again, if you see the paintbrush has a very thin point, and I'm using that point to help me out and stay within that section because it's very easy to get out. So you want to be very light with it, not putting too much pressure on it. And you also want to make sure that you are using that point, and so it stays in. I mean, you can do a lot of little designs with that paintbrush point. I want to do some of the leaves, so I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. There are two types of green. I think I like the lighter green. So I'm going to make sure that if you notice, my paintbrush is getting the color, right? We want the color to be noticeable when we are painting. when we're about to paint, because then it makes it much easier to have the color. We don't want the color to be a watered down version. Same thing, I'm going very super light over here. And another thing that people sometimes make mistakes is they'll do a great job with the painting part, and then they'll be so excited to show their work that they'll quickly stand it up. So the problem with that is that when you go ahead and do that, I'm going to do that example over here so you can see what I'm talking about. So I just went and I painted here, right? And I want to say, look what I did, look what I did. And then what ends up happening, it ends up running down. This one is not as bad, but you can see that the paper is running down. So you don't want to do that. You want it to dry and then show. And if you want the grown-up or someone to look, or a friend to look, you can actually say, can you come over and look? Or obviously look at it when it's done. You want to make sure that you are not messing up your work because you're so anxious to show it to somebody else. And I get the excitement, but we want to be able to kind of control that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload this so you can see what we have so far, and then I'm going to do more work and add a shorter version so you can see where we're going. So if I want to make these, just so you know, a little bit orange, I can do that, again, going very light. You don't need to put too much water. And also kind of creating the idea of symmetry. If I have two doors that are on the side, I might want to put them about the same color. Anyway, that's it for now. I will post another video just so that you can see how far along we got, and maybe photograph or videotape some kids doing it, but obviously not show their face. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.